All right, so page 2, n plus 6 divided by 4 greater than 4. The first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to need to turn on the pen tools. And there we go. All right, so n plus 6 divided by 4 is greater than 4. Again, we haven't done a whole lot with something like this, but in order to get at the plus 6, we're going to have to undo this division by 4. Okay, so we're going to undo division with multiplication. This divides out. That gives you n plus 6 greater than 16. Then we're going to undo addition with subtraction. Okay, remember our ultimate goal is to get that variable by itself. So we wouldn't want to do anything with the 16 because that doesn't help us get the n by itself. So that gives us 0 there, and n is greater than 10. Open circle, because it's not an equal to, and then remember it's pointing this way, so our graph should point that way too. It's also called greater than, so it's pointing to all the numbers that are greater than. Alrighty, number 10. Okay, first thing we're going to do, anytime you have distributive property, that's the first thing you're going to do first. Let's just do any distributions. So you've got negative 40 greater than or equal to 10 times negative 10 plus a. Oops, I didn't distribute. That's okay. Guess we'll do it again. Negative 40 greater than or equal to negative 20 plus 10a. Our ultimate goal is to get the variable by itself, so I'm going to add 20 on both sides. Gives us negative 20 greater than or equal to 10a. So it's negative 20 greater than or equal to 10 times a. Undo multiplication with, that's right, division. Go ahead and put on your glasses. And negative 2 is greater than a. In order to graph it, we want to typically have the variable on the left side. So if we read this from right to left, it says a is less than negative 2. So that's how we're going to write it. We're going to write a is less than negative 2. Okay, the pointy part was pointing towards the a when we wrote it with it on the right. So the pointy part needs to point towards the a when we rewrite it. It's an equal to. Always a good idea to go back and check. What kind of inequality sign did I start with? Because I see a lot of, my final answer doesn't have the bar underneath, but I started with the equal to bar. And so I end up having to take off a half point because the answer is not technically right. So a quick double check of your inequalities after you're done taking your test would probably help alleviate that issue. Uh-oh, what did I do? Awkward. Oh. Did you know that 10 times 10 isn't 20? Holy cow. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. All right, so what I realized was that a less than negative 2 doesn't fit on our graph. And I've told you guys before, if it doesn't fit on the graph, the software that I've used to create your tests, your worksheets, your quizzes, it's not going to give you a graph that you can't graph it on. Okay, so if my answer was like way over here, it's not right. Go back and figure out what you did wrong. Use that noggin. Okay, so we're adding 100, so this should be 60. And 60 divided by 10 is 6, so A is less than or equal to 6, which does actually fit on our graph this time. And we're good to go. Hopefully you noticed my mistake before I did. If not, it's a learning experience for both of us. All right, here's number 11. Looks like I got distributive property again. So distribute first, combine like terms second, and then go from there. So we got negative 8n minus 56n. It's a lot of n's. Plus 28 greater than or equal to 348. Negative 64n. Okay, so we're combining like terms here. Those are like terms, so we're going to combine them. Plus 28 greater than or equal to 348. I'm trying to get n by itself. Again, multiplication and division has to be the last step that you do. So we're going to subtract 28 first. A little bit more room here. Negative 64n greater than or equal to 320. Divide by negative 64. Do I have a calculator? 320 divided by 64. It's 5. Oops, that's not right. Okay, so n, we're dividing by a negative down here. Which is going to cause our inequality to change directions. So instead of less than or equal to, we'll go with greater than or equal to. And we said it was 5. Negative 5. A positive divided by a negative should give you a negative. Yeah, I knew it was negative 5, or I knew positive 5 wasn't right because I looked at my graph again and I was like, oh no, positive 5 doesn't fit on my graph. This is embarrassing again. But we saved the day because a positive divided by a negative is in fact a negative. Whew. Okay, so we need a filled in circle at negative 5, and we're going to the right for greater than. Looks like we got about 4 more problems on this page. Distributive property first gives us 144 greater than or equal to 4 plus 20p. Okay, we're trying to get p by itself, so we're going to undo addition or subtraction first. It gives us 0 here, 140 greater than or equal to 20p. So we have 140 greater than or equal to 20 times p. Undo multiplication with division. So 7 is greater than or equal to p. We want to flip that around, which is going to cause our inequality to change around as well. Hey, look, my answer actually fits on the graph this time. And we're going left. I keep wanting to ask if there are questions, comments, concerns at the end of every example. Obviously, I can't hear you. All right, so distributive property first, 5x plus 10 greater than x plus 34. We want to move the variable to one side and the constant term to the other. That gives us 4x greater than 24. So 4 times x. We're going to undo multiplication with division. So x is greater than 6. 6 is right here. Open circle. Go to the right. Okay. Distribute. Negative 20v plus 28 less than negative 4v minus 20. So we're going to add 4v to both sides. Negative 16v plus 28 less than negative 20. Subtract 28 on both sides. Gives us negative 16v less than negative 48. Divide by negative 16. When you divide by negative, inequality changes directions. So v is greater than positive 3. Positive 3, moving to the right. 2 more. Before we do 15 and 16, I just want to make a brief statement that you will see something like this and something like this on your quiz, on your test. Okay. Here we subtract 2x on both sides. 1 is less than or equal to 1. All real numbers because the variable was eliminated and it's a true statement. Over here, we end up with 1 greater than 2. 1 is not greater than 2. No solution. Okay. Only if the variable gets eliminated. True statement, all real numbers. False statement, no solution. Completely unrelated to 15 and 16. Just wanted to make a brief mention of it here. Okay, so we have 2 inequalities to solve. First one, we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. 7p is greater than negative 56. Undo multiplication with division. P is greater than negative 8. And we're going to subtract 8 on both sides. Maybe if my pen works. 6p less than 6 divided by 6. P is less than 1. So we want to be greater than negative 8, but also less than 1. Remember, and inequalities are going to look like a jousting stick. The or inequalities are going to go in opposite directions. Your options are for your inequalities to go towards each other or away from each other. And you should always, 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 always verify that what you want to happen is actually happening. Okay, if it says greater than negative 8, make sure you graph greater than negative 8. If for some reason I had p greater than 1, when I graph negative 8 and I graph greater than 1, they're both going to the right. They should never be going in the same direction. They're either going towards each other for an and or away from each other for an or. So I would know that p greater than 1 is not right. I could go back and see, oh, I think it's supposed to be less than 1. But also don't just switch it. Like, make sure everything works out. Okay? Let's see here. Subtract 6. Undo addition with subtraction. 6k greater than negative 36 divided by 6. K is greater than negative 6. Add 10 on both sides. 3k is less than or equal to negative 6 divided by 3. And k is less than or equal to negative 2. So we have to be greater than -6, but less than or equal to -2. Open circle at -6, filled in circle at -2, because only the -2 had the equal to. That was another and. I've got some mores on the next page. All right, we'll take care of that in the page 3 video.